So, that is your Markov inequality for S bigger than 0. Similarly, you can not Markov inequality, Chernoff bound for S bigger than 0. For S less than 0, you will get a similar bound for probability that x less than alpha, right. If S is less than 0, so probability x less than alpha will be equal to the same thing if S is less than 0, right. So, you will get a similar exponential estimate on the negative side of on the this tail, what you call this, the left side tail, right. This is a, so if you are looking at some random variable whose, let us say for the sake of argument, let us say it has some PDF like that. Actually let me, yeah. So, if you are looking at the, okay, so if you have some random variable like that, so this is giving you the probability that x is bigger than alpha, right. You can also get the probability of x less than alpha, right, by if you take the similar S less than 0, right. So, if this is your density, you do not actually need the density, you just need the moment generating function to exist, right. And this kind of a calculation, so this kind of calculation forms the foundation of what is known as the theory of large deviations, okay, getting these exponential bounds. So, this, if at all you pick up, if you study large deviations, this is what you will encounter this expression a lot, okay. It has lots of nice properties. This lambda x is as a convex function you can show, and this is called the convex dual of the log moment generating function and so on. So, it has lots of nice properties, okay, but that is really taking us too far afield, okay. All you need to know is that you can get exponentially decaying bounds on this kind of a probability, okay. Any questions? Yeah, so after you supremize over S, what remains will only be a function of alpha, right. So, that will look something like, so this will look like, so you can e power minus for some other function lambda star, it will look like e power minus lambda star of alpha, right. So, I am just calling this, after you supremize this function as the lambda star, okay. So, this is a very typical large deviation bound, okay. Similarly, you can do a calculation for S less than 0 for the left side tail. Okay, any questions? Yeah, if you are interested in this kind of stuff, you can first look up Wikipedia or some textbook on Chernoff bound, and large deviations theory is basically takes off from here, okay. Are there any questions? Yes.
For continuous random variables, whether mean value divides PDF into two sections with a half probability? No.
So, that is called the median, right, for any random variable. So, the point where you have half the probability on the side, half the probability on the side is called the median. Okay, so that I think that concludes this little bit of a small section on concentration inequalities. So, the final, so that brings us to the final module or final section in this course. This is about convergence of random variables and limit theorems, okay, and it is probably the most technically challenging part of this course, okay. So, this requires a lot of effort, this what I am going to talk about, convergence of random variables, because there is, we will discuss convergence of random variables and various notions of convergence of random variables, and we will also say how these notions of convergence are related and so on. So, what my experience has been that students often struggle with this. Okay. It is a little bit difficult to digest and get it into your heads, but once you understand it, it's all, it's just fine. So, you have to, what you have to do, I am saying this because this, you know, this is getting to the end of semester, right, but this is a time when you have to really put in some thought and effort and study, you know. So, this concentration, not concentration, this convergence of random variables. Okay. It is a somewhat of a challenging section, okay, not easy when you are seeing it for the first time. So, if you are given a sequence of real numbers x1 through x1 x2 dot dot dot, we know what it means for x to converge, right. It just means that when n gets large, xn, so if x is your limit, absolute value of xn minus x can be made less than epsilon, right, for any epsilon for large enough n. Now, we are going to talk about convergence of random variables, a sequence of random variables. Okay. So, as usual, so you have some probability space omega fp, probability space, and x1 x2 dot 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 be a sequence of random variables on this space. Okay. So, if you want to speak about the convergence of a sequence of random variables, see, random variables are what kind of objects? They are functions, right. So, it's, you are essentially talking about convergence of functions, right. So, this is something we have already defined, come to think of it, right, when we did MCT and so on, we talked about convergence of random variables, pointwise convergence of random variables, and what is it we talk about? Almost sure convergence of random variables, right. So, those two things I will repeat, okay, and then I will also give you a few other notions of convergence, okay, which are commonly encountered. Okay, then we will talk about, so about 4 or 5 different convergence notions we will define, and we will talk about how they are related. Okay. So, this you already know, definition 0, the sequence xi, the sequence is said to converge pointwise or surely to x if xn of omega converges to x of omega for all omega in the sample space as n tends to infinity. So, this is something we have already seen, right. This is like pointwise convergence of functions. You pick any omega in the sample space, for that omega you have a sequence of real numbers x1 of omega, x2 of omega dot dot dot, right. For as soon as omega realizes, the sequence of random variables becomes a sequence of real numbers. Now, we know what it means to talk about the sequence of real numbers, right. So, now this sequence of real numbers x1 of omega converges to some x of omega, right, and that is your so, and if that happens for every omega in the sample space, this is called pointwise convergence or sure convergence, right. For every omega you have this convergence. Okay. That clear? This is exactly pointwise convergence of functions, right. So, often but often we know that, so this is too strict a notion of convergence, all right. That is because in probability we do not often, we are willing to sacrifice measure 0 sets as such, probability measure 0 sets, right. So, we do not really care about probability measure 0 sets. So, we will slightly weaken this definition to say that we will, so x n converges to x almost surely if this convergence happens except probably on a set of measure 0, probability 0. Okay. This I think this also we did, right. We call it almost everywhere convergence, I guess, mu almost everywhere convergence. Now, the mu is this probability measure. Definition 1. So, I call this definition 0 because in probability you never use this. Sure convergence is too strong a notion of convergence to be useful in probability. Okay. Definition 1. So, we say, so I am not going to write the whole thing again, right. We say x n converges to x almost surely or with probability 1 if x n of omega converges to x of omega on a set of probability 1, i.e. probability of omega for which x n of omega converges to x of omega equal to 1. Okay. The set of all omegas. So, this says that this convergence happens not necessarily for all omega in sample space, but on a set of probability 1. So, there may be some little omegas left out where the convergence does not happen, but they have probability 0. Okay. That is almost sure convergence. Okay. Sometimes this is also called strong convergence. Okay. Now, there is a little bit of technicalities here, one has to be a little bit careful. So, one has to prove that this kind of an event, this kind of whatever is inside the probability here, right, you are looking at the event omega that x n of omega converges to x of omega, right. You have to prove that such a subset of omegas is indeed an event, right, but that can be done. Okay. Otherwise, you cannot speak of its probability, right. Yeah, so perhaps so we can, so the way you prove that is, so you assume that the limiting random variable is 0, or you can consider simply absolute value of x n minus x, right, and then the limiting random variable will be 0. So, if you consider this as the 0 random variable, you can actually write out this event as a countable unions and intersections of f measurables, events. Okay. Maybe I will put this, maybe we should put this in the homework, okay, to show that the set is indeed an event. So, is this clear? And of course, there is also one other technicality we left out. I think this also can be proven that if x n of, so the limit of a sequence of measurable functions or random variables is always a measurable function. This also I mentioned earlier, the proof is not all that difficult again, you have to write the sets of the form x greater than alpha in terms of unions and intersections of these guys, right. These are technicalities, I did not really emphasize these too much, but they can be done. So, the limit of a sequence of random variables is always a random variable, okay, it is always an f measurable function, and these kind of events are are indeed events are f measurable. Okay. Any questions on this? So, the way I will do this is I will give you all the definitions in one shot, hopefully you will digest it abstractly, and then we will give examples, okay, to illustrate the difference between the various notions of convergence. Okay. Any questions on this? Definition 2. So, now we are talking about the notion of convergence in probability. Okay. Say x n converges to x in probability if for all epsilon greater than 0, the limit of the probability that x n greater than x, so x n minus x greater than epsilon is 0. Okay. So, if you are looking at, if you are looking at the difference between x n and x, absolute value of the difference between x n and x, and you are looking at the probability that the difference exceeds epsilon. Okay. Epsilon is something very small, let us say you are fixing some epsilon very small, and you are saying, looking at the probability that the absolute value of the difference between x n and x exceeds epsilon, and if for every epsilon greater than 0, if this limit goes to 0, then you say x n converges to x in probability. Okay. So, this I mean this, so convergence in probability is very different from convergence with probability 1. Okay. It may not be totally apparent to you now that they are in fact very different, okay, but convergence with probability. So, one thing, the limit is inside the probability, right, we are looking at the probability of omega for which x n of limit x n is equal to x. Here the limit is outside the probability, right. You can write this whole thing as probability of omega for which limit x n equals x, right. Another way of writing this is probability of omega for which limit x n is equal to x. Here the probability is inside the probability is outside the limit, here the limit is outside the probability, right. So, they are actually not the same. Okay. So, that is why it gets a little tricky, you have to digest these notions very carefully, understand what it means. See, the one thing, see, this is a bit of a misnomer. Okay. See, there are only, see, the sure convergence, almost sure convergence, in these two cases you have the sequence of random variables themselves converging. Okay. Here it is a bit of a misnomer to say x n converges to x in probability. After all, what is, it is not like x n, the sequence x n itself converges to x here, it is just that some sequence of probabilities are converging to 0. Okay. So, rather than, so this has become standard terminology, but a correct terminology would be to say that rather than say a sequence convergence in probability, you can say that the sequence of probabilities converges, this sequence of probabilities converges, right. So, here I am saying that the sequence itself converges to x of omega. Here it is not true that, it is not necessarily the case that x n itself converges to x on a right, I mean this may not happen, it is only that this probability sequence goes to 0. If you call this p n or something, if you call this guy, let us say p n of epsilon, let us say, I can call this Pn of epsilon, right. So, the sequence Pn of epsilon goes to 0, that is all. It is not like xn goes to x in any real sense. Okay. I guess what I am trying to say is that in here over here, when you pick a very large n, xn of omega itself becomes very close to x of omega, right. The difference between xn of omega and x of omega becomes very small for almost all omega, right, not all omega, but the xn of omega itself gets close to x of omega. Here that is not necessarily the case, right. What this is saying is that this probability goes to 0, right. There may be sets of probability greater than 0 where xn of omega and x of omega need not be close, but this overall probability goes to 0 of deviation by more than epsilon goes to 0. Okay. Again, this is not something that is so apparent to you at this point, right, which is why I am saying these notions are a little subtle. What we will show is that convergence with probability 1 or convergence almost surely will imply convergence in probability, but convergence in probability does not imply convergence almost surely. Okay. So, this implies this, but this does not imply that. So, this is a strictly stronger notion of convergence than this. Okay. Okay. So, I will stop here, I will continue with couple of more definitions and then we will see how these convergence notions are related to each other. Okay.